There we go. There we go. Right, okay, so CEO of Virgin Mobile Polska, top two challenges, let's get into this. Top two challenges right now, what keeps you awake at night and why?
So now we become serious. It was the fun part earlier. First, this is the nightmare of all the industry. This is the data consumption, which is growing and growing and growing without any kind of limits. We have deployed 4G. Our consumers are already expecting 5G. They have no idea whatsoever with what this 5G is actually needed for, what is it about, but the expectation is there. The expectations of our governments, as crazy as they are, that the industry will do something. So 5G, this is smart cities, this is Internet of Things, this is the source of money for hopefully all of us, but well, we'll continue later. So this is the first need, how to answer the needs of our customers. They don't want to make the calls. They want to have data for the calls that they place in, but it's FaceTime, it's Viber, it's all the messengers. It's nothing that is kind of classical or old-fashioned till the moment. So this is the first thing. Second is, well, we have to invest. We are expected to launch 5G, 6G, 10G, or whatever, but we need money for this kind of investment. So the biggest challenge that I see is that after being for so many years in telco, I've always seen beautiful kingdoms of all the CTOs of the big networks of this world building their own networks. It's mine. I don't want to share it. I don't want even to think about kind of infrastructure sharing, about frequency sharing. So come on. Okay, I changed the site. I've been the CEO of Orange. Now I work for Virgin, so it's a different opinion. It's a different perspective. But still, maybe this is the time to start to think about common investment, about real infrastructure sharing, about building maybe not one 5G network or to be deployed all over countries, because the countries are of a different size, and probably the security guys would go crazy if they were to be dependent only on one network. I can understand it, I can live with that, but maybe it's time to think about common investments. Why? To save money and not to put it, to dig it into the ground, or not the ground, but the base stations, and just to get it sunk. So these are two challenges. First is technology, which is data, and second is money, which is much more character and the old management style driven.
Lovely, thank you much indeed. And there is a roving microphone. James at the back has that. So if, no, it's fine, but if anybody would like to ask Grażyna a question, please do just stick your hand up and we will get to you. But we'll do one more before that. So the world is changing, you talked about it there. Digital transformation is at the very least changing customer demands. Even if it does nothing else, it's changing your customer demands. What does this mean for your leadership team in particular? I suppose I'm thinking about skills, but that could be insight, it could be action, it could be a whole host of things.
There was one word which was abused all over the world for many years, which was innovation. This is the most hated word that I've ever heard. Everybody was talking about innovation, but nobody knows what it is. All the governments were talking about it. So now we are talking about customer-centric, customer journey, customer experience, customer generally. The truth is that we cannot say that there is one general recipe, because there is no single expectations from our customer. Let's take Poland, for example. We've had a short discussion. Actually, everybody in my country wants to have a smartphone. Lots of people have them, but only 40% of smartphone users use internet. Why? Because there is no services, there is no infrastructure, there are no e-services, there is no e-government. So why the hell should they go to internet? They just use data for talking to friends, etc., but they don't have this kind of ambience that other nations or other cities in the world have it. Take Shanghai. If you are not a digital person, really, then you will not survive, because you are being attacked for all the information on your smartphone. How to get there, how to get to this point, what is the weather, what is the information. You have to live with it. So if you don't follow, then you would better learn. In some countries, people don't want to go digital because they do not understand it. So we can force the customers, but is it really customer-centric then? It's not. Second issue is actually our customers. As we are here, probably the majority of us is the generation X, maybe some millennials, but there is one important Gen Z coming. And this is the world where we can actually forget everything that we know. These guys are living, they do not see any difference between physical world and digital world. They use a world which is phygital, and we would better understand it. We'll better start to understand it because this is something that is coming. These are our customers, and these are also the people that we will have to manage in the future. So it's much better to understand them now. Otherwise, we will have some HR issues quite soon.
Sir. Did you have a question?
Do you really feel that the customer-centric idea is bull? Because if you do, you will fail.
No, I exaggerate. It's just I try to first to wake some of you and really to bring the discussion. What I wanted to say that customer-centric is not the same for everybody. Every one of us in every single company has a different understanding, and also it's cultural dependent. So customer-centric, yes, customer comes first. It's obvious that we have to understand the customer. But what I've seen in the industry is that for many, many years, there's been companies that have been saying that they are doing something for the customers, while the customers have no benefit whatsoever from this. So if what you said, I would take it this way: stop talking, just do it, otherwise you will fail. So this is what I call the bullshit, that everybody's talking about it, but this customer is really either being offered something he does not want, either he's being offered something which is too complex. In both cases, is a failure.
Yeah, I agree. To summarize, generic customer journeys or customer-centric is not going to work because there is no generic. Localized is where you're going, and it sounds like you know what you're doing. Thank you.
It's personalization, actually, customization.
I think to kind of back, I don't know if anybody's seen the Gartner CEO survey for I think it's 2018, 2017, 18, and obviously you go to an event and you see a CEO talk, and very often they will talk about how they're putting the customer at the heart of everything they do. The customer survey is completely anonymous. The Gartner survey is completely anonymous, and in that 54% of CEOs said that growth and profit are their #1 business priority. 21% said the customer. Which I think is a curious kind of thing. And just sort of to kind of go, I was sat in a really fascinating roundtable earlier with Paul Byrne, which was on customer centricity. And someone made the point, forgive me, I didn't write down who it was, but they said, who can hand on heart say they genuinely prioritize the customer first? And then there was a bit of sort of crosstalk, and somebody said, well, what is customer first? And they said, you make something for the customer, and then you monetize it. That's the only way to be truly customer first. You make something because the customer wants it, and then you monetize it. Hand on heart, can anybody put their hand up, put their hand on their heart and say they can prioritize the customer first? Nobody knows who was in that roundtable apart from me, but I can tell you that no one put their hand on their heart. So, you know, what are you doing? What's working, what doesn't? How are you trying to get the customer at the heart of what you do?
Just one comment on this monetization and customer-centric journey. Actually, this is not a case of Poland, because in Poland we've got bundles. For a couple of euros, you've got everything. So it's a bundle of unlimited calls, unlimited SMSs, and a huge pack of starting from 10 gigs, and everything for 6 euros. Six. Not 16, no, not 60, not even 16, it's 6 euros. So this is the market. And then if you try to monetize something by selling, and of course this is for the customer, selling additional gig per 1 euro, then of course it's, maybe it would be monetization, but is it good for the, for the customer? So I would say that monetization, it's really, again, it's something about first investment. There will be a huge discussion about how to monetize 5G, by the way. So this is customer-centric. It's not neither customer-centric at the moment. It's about bigger, I would say, bigger idea and bigger good. But starting to think about how to monetize something, if we are really talking about customer experience, customer journey, and what to add additionally to the customer in coming unlimited world, it's like, okay, I don't want to make the customer feel good. I just want to get his money, and it will be sensed. So I would stop talking about this monetization. It's about value of the and perception of the service that the customers get, and well, that's it. And unlimited is coming, unlimited offers to every single country. There is a huge difference all over, even Europe. We are still in some countries charging calls per minute or 3 minutes or whatsoever. But anyway, the news spreads, there are unlimited packages, and they are getting cheaper. So talking about monetization, it seems like a big joke in this case.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. Let's go back to, any questions out there? Any hands up? Oh, Susan, down here, James.
So you said that sharing the infrastructure is one of the options to save money, but if we are looking at Europe, and I don't have the numbers, how many telcos do we have in Europe? Is sharing the infrastructure enough? Because if you look at the single telcos, they are very tiny, and from the innovation we need to take and the cost reduction we have, is this really enough?
It's not. This is what I've been talking about, because there are some examples, some first signs of sharing infrastructure. For example, in Poland, T-Mobile and Orange were able to establish a joint venture to do it. It's very limited infrastructure. It's about towers sharing and not really the full-blown infrastructure sharing, but there was a sign. But what I say that absolutely, this religion of having a network. The network has to be mine because it's about competitive advantage. For me, it's another book. Maybe a couple of years ago, maybe 15 years ago, it was the quality of network, the network that really belonged to one operator was a huge asset, but it really changes. And especially when we look at the need for investment for 5G, I think that every shareholder should think twice and should seek an ally really to try to find a solution, because we are not talking about hundreds of millions of euro. Now we are talking about billions of euro being invested. So we would better forget our egos, and believe me that my ego usually is 10 meters ahead of me, and it has always been like that. But anyway, money-wise, we should all think about it, and it's in the, well, I know that it sounds really high, but I think that this is for the good of all of us, that this money is invested better than before.
Errol.
Hi. I mean, as far as I know, Virgin doesn't have a network in Europe, not in UK, but I don't know other part of Europe. But on the other hand, a few years back, there was a survey in the UK that Virgin Media, as a mobile network, just ranked very high. And although it was using T-Mobile network ranked very low those days. And now, when I heard from you, actually, customer care is just bullshit, how did you manage that?
It's all about, again, it's a very good point, because it's fun part. We have the same kind of survey for our customers. We are MVNO, we are virtual operator as mobile operate as Virgin in Poland, and still our host has much worse opinions from the customers than we have. The customer actually looks at the brand as the quality of overall service, and network actually is comparable. So I would say that I'm not surprised. It's about brand. Generally in Poland, T-Mobile is very strong because this is the German network. So this is the perception. Orange is French, so this is much more French network and quality of network. Actually, our host is being owned by the Greeks, which are fun, Kalimera, and Björgolfsson. And there is a Polish mogul, this is media mogul, and this is one Polish network of quite a decent quality, by the way. So it's all about perception, actually, and about the brand performance. In today's time, everything, the majority of network in Poland is all Huawei. Sorry for other guys, but this is the truth. So what can be the difference? Of course, BSSs are different. Other parts, some elements in IT are different. So customer service is different. But anyway, it's all about Chinese.
We have one at the back there, James. Oh, sorry, did you have one there as well? Yeah, madam, sorry. And then we'll get to you, sir.
Sure. I would like to come back to the customers. You said 40% internet penetration, right? Did I understand you correctly? 40%?
No, you did not. I said that actually we have almost 60 million SIMs for 38 million habitants, so the penetration rate for the mobile is quite huge. What I said that for the people that have smartphones, 40% of smartphones, it's like, well, 40% of iPhone users does not use internet. Or Samsung Galaxy 8 or 9, which I find, personally, I find strange.
That's why my second part. How many people use an e-commerce online in Poland?
25%, and it's growing. But again, it's being done on actually mobile or Wi-Fi via the fixed line.
And then my real question is, what do you do as a mobile operator to include other people in internet user community?
Actually, I touched upon this point because I say that, well, the reason why this 40% of smartphone users does not go for the internet, it means that they don't have the need to go to go there. The reason for e-commerce why it's only responsible for 25%. It's only, or is it high? I think that it's high for our country. Is that first, for e-commerce you have to pay somehow, and generally the percentage of people that have credit cards is getting higher, but still they have it, but they don't use it. So cash is king. So for e-commerce, it's very difficult to deal with this kind of thing. So the basics are education. Actually, that credit card, this is something that you can pay for in the environment that is increasing. So it's all about education. So as mobile operators, we can say that, well, we can give you a full package, full pack of data. You can have 10 gigs or 15 gigs for roughly nothing, for a couple of euros, and then better use it for something else than streaming live of some fancy movies, for example. It's late night, so I will not maybe recall what is the best live streaming, best most consumed data for my consumers. We know the data, you can imagine what it is. It's Tinder-like, or Tinder parallel business.
Yeah.
So, but it's not about education anymore, I think.
You've lost me, but I mean, I'll ask a grown-up later. Yes, sir.
Hello, yeah, this is Mark Froese from ATIX Everywhere. Just maybe a simple or maybe a complex question. You were saying that monetization is a joke and customer-centric is something like stupid stuff. So what is your vision for your company or for your business in the future?
Again, it's it's sometimes
monetize the hell out of the stupid stuff.
It's monetizing the hell of a stupid stuff that you offer, and the basic stuff actually, without any kind of complexity, without trying our customer to think more than he has to, and sometimes being provocative in answers actually leads to this kind of conclusion, which is not true. But yeah, but we try really to monetize what is simple, what is not any kind of fancy stuff that our customers really do not bother at the moment. If they start to think about something else, I will give it to them. But if they want to have unlimited, simple offers, one click, it's like it's an Amazon-like, one click and I have a service, I've got everything. This is for me monetization of the ideas my marketing guys think of, and my CFO sitting over there is able to understand and validate in terms of money.
I think just to clarify, what Grażyna actually said was that if you talk about monetization too clearly, your customer will smell that they are being monetized, and that isn't good. And regarding the customer centricity stuff, I believe, again, to paraphrase, it was that actually if you're not consistent with it, and if you just do it for this kind of the sake of saying it's customer centric, then that is pointless. So at no point have you said that customer centricity is wrong or you shouldn't monetize stuff, just to clarify.
There is one thing that if you are dishonest to your customers, they will feel it. If you say we are customer centric, etc., and it's not true, you don't believe in it anyway. You know that you sell the smelly stuff. Huh? They will feel it. So it's much better to say, I offer you a simple service. I offer you something that is easy to understand, that is easy to wrap up by a customer, than say lots of beautiful stuff. Otherwise, your customers will feel like you. You know what kind of word usually we would use, and they smell it, they feel it anyway, and then it's bad. So it's better to be honest.
Lovely. Still got to find out what TV programs they're watching. Yes, sir.
We talk about the investment and the fact that it's huge. I'm quite surprised that the investment is huge if you've only got 40% of your users using the internet or not using the internet. But when we talk about monetization, is it not better to start looking at it and saying, right, who are the customers that are giving me the money, and how do I service them by where I put my infrastructure spend, where I put my services? Should we actually, as businesses, start looking at it and saying, hey, it's okay to look at the masses as a best effort, but do I actually put my spend, my investments around my biggest rate of return?
Again, you're absolutely right. It's all about customers and about changing habits. As I will come back to the generations. Gen Z we wanted all to have career. We were working for money. We wanted things to be nice and simple. Simplification, I know. Then millennials, our children that really want to have a meeting. Let's share an idea. Let's do something as a group. Let's collaborate, etc. So this is a different type of customer. And then there is Gen Z that is coming. That they are much more like us. They know that they have to work. They know that if you want to do a career, you would better know what you want to do. They are ready to work very hard, and their world is phygital. It's nothing that we've seen in the past. They will not need physical service. They do not see, there is a total blur between their physical service and digital service. And this is what we have to think about it, because this is really our customer. So if we come back to this customer-centric vision, etc., it will be customer-centric, but I'm afraid that our vision about customers that will still need physical shops, that they will still need to touch a phone whatsoever, it's gone. It will be gone in a couple of years. So it's another set of customers and also our employees that is coming. So absolutely fair point.
Okay. We have one last question, I think, from the gentleman over there. Yes, please.
So I was wondering, with the convergence of, I'm talking more broad than Poland now, but with the convergence of a lot of the consumer players in the telecoms market, do you see the future investments going into content production as a result of the services becoming more homogeneous, which I think you said yourself for Poland?
Actually, it is. Well, there are lots of content producers, and of a different kind, of course, but it's all about margins. And it's all about where actually you can source the content and what is cheaper. You can have local producers of content. You've got YouTubers, you've got all the influencers, and it's cheap like hell in Poland. But well, the price for this kind of services will go up because then we have Europe, we have all the world, you can sources from everywhere. And the content, it also changes. Look at what was that, to have a movie, to have an ad or whatever. A couple of years ago, it would require money, it would require facility. Now you have an influencer, YouTuber, you just ask him, give him some money, and you have a beautiful story all over the world with crappy stuff or not, but it's content. So then it's all about what our customers want to see, what they want to do, and by the way, what they want to pay for. And if you are going to give it to them for free, or you want to monetize it. Again, we come back to this word. But anyway, content production becomes so common, and you can get it from everywhere. So I would say that actually content selection, choice of content that you would like to offer by yourself would become more and more important.
Thank you, Steve. So I have one last question to ask you, if that's okay. I'd like to ask everybody that I get a chance to ask this question. So, you know, you have a really incredible background. You're the most influential woman in Poland, voted, all these sorts of amazing things you've done. Mike Tyson has a famous quote where somebody was interviewing Mike Tyson for a fight, and they said, the person you're fighting has a plan to beat you. And Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until I punch them in the face. So when the rubber hits the road, what's the thing that's happened that you can honestly say, you know, I'm really glad that happened because I learned something amazing, but I hope that never, ever happens to me again in my career?
Yeah, there was a story 5 years ago. I wanted to do something for my country, which is quite normal. I left the telco industry. It was very unwise from my side on this point, but I took the position. Well, Headhunter had a beautiful selection. I went for the position of the CEO of PGNiG. This is Polish oil and gas company. This is like Gazprom, but in Poland. And then I made something which everybody thought that it's impossible to me, which was to strike a deal, to renegotiate a contract with Gazprom. So me and my team, we have renegotiated it. We changed completely terms of this agreement. We earned billions of euros of savings for the company and the Polish economy, which is actually a huge gas consumer. And then I thought, wow, I'm the god, or rather, I'm the goddess. Everybody will love me. So it seemed that actually, well, I got my slash on the face because the prime minister of the country did not subscribe to the opinion that I'm the goddess because I'm just the manager, and the government, which for many reasons have not supported us in this negotiation because they felt that, well, actually the blonde will hit the wall, so we should better cover because there will be a failure. So unfortunately, I've managed to close this deal, I've managed to do it, and then after a couple of months, I got the life sentence. I was publicly slashed and fired from my position, and I thought that, well, actually, I earned billions of euro for the company. Nobody has even thanked me for this. I don't have a beautiful island in Caribbean, which was actually Richard Branson's comment that, well, if I earned 6 billion euros for the company, then I would have my own island as a bonus. So I love it. So I got slashed, and it was like, wow. My key learning from this stuff is that first, of course, I came back to telco, which is the normal business, but then you should better think twice. Sometimes doing something which is also huge, also great, and also magnificent can turn out to be the biggest failure of your life because you will get fired. But then it's all about job. The achievement stays there. The job that you've done stays there. But anyway, it was like a huge lesson never to work for a state-controlled company, and I will stick to private business if you don't mind. So yeah, so this is my key learning. So you can achieve a lot and still got hit. Well, but it's Poland, so, and nobody talks to Russians in my country. So sorry. No, it's not about the table.
Ladies and gentlemen, Grażyna Piotrowska, Oliwa.
Thank you very much.